Hi students, welcome to you all, and I am today discussing photosynthesis elaborately because here's a message from Adarsh Kumar who wants me to do this. I am sure that it is only because ICSE board 10th exams biology paper is very shortly going to happen, so this will benefit him as well as to other students of ICSE board, and he also wants to know about me. What can I tell about me, because I'm 68 years old and I'm trying to contribute some valuable, discussions, and with some valuable discussion and talks which will benefit you as far as biology is concerned, because I am teaching biology here to CBSE as well as ICSE board students. So I think this is the only introduction that I can give you. My name, as you all know, is Anirudh Sengupta, and I'm trying to contribute. I don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, but as long as possible, I will try to contribute in the field of education. And the only thing which matters is this should benefit you, nothing else. So, with that, I am elaborating the process of photosynthesis. As we all know, photosynthesis. What does the photosynthesis means? It is meaning to put together light. Photosynthesis means to put together light. This is photosynthesis. Actually, the meaning of photosynthesis. But earlier it was believed that plants are only surviving, they are absorbing some substances from their surroundings. But it was Robert Hill who found the chloroplast for the first time, the tissues which are containing chlorophyll. So then further works were carried on, and then photosynthesis process was understood, and it is defined as the process by which plants prepare their food from carbon dioxide and water. The green plants prepare their food, or the plant cells which are having chlorophyll prepare their food from carbon dioxide and water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. So this is the process, and the end result is glucose C6H12O6, which is also stored as starch. So this is photosynthesis. Now, why photosynthesis is so important? What is the significance? First of all, photosynthesis, by this process only plants are preparing food, and so they are becoming autotrophs and they are becoming the producers, and others are consumers. So every organism is dependent directly or indirectly for food on plants, only because plants are able to perform photosynthesis and they can prepare their food. So this is how they have become producers, and all others are consumers. So in each trophic level, the organism is dependent on the earlier organism of the earlier trophic level, but the chain is starting from the plants, the producers. So the for food, every organism is dependent directly or indirectly on plants. So providing food is the foremost and the most important significance. And the second one is the photosynthesis is the only natural process which is giving oxygen for life support for all the organisms. So how important is this photosynthesis process? And I think it is the most important process around, which is taking place in the plants. So this is the significance or importance of photosynthesis. Then we come to the chlorophyll, which is the most important pigment in plants, in green plants, because chlorophyll is only absorbing and becoming activated by the sunlight, by the light energy, and by which only the photosynthesis is possible. Chlorophyll are of many types, of 9 types, but chlorophyll A and B are the most important and commonly found. So they are present where they are present. They have to be present somewhere. So where? In the leaves. But where in the leaves? In the chloroplast, as I mentioned earlier. In the chloroplast, there are piles, piles of disc-like structures. So these disc-like structures are called thylakoids, and they are containing chlorophyll, and these piles are known as granum or grana, and the ground substance of the chloroplast is the stroma. So this is the structure of the chloroplast, and chlorophyll is present in the thylakoids. So the light is absorbed in the thylakoids, and it is taking place in the light reaction is taking place of photosynthesis is taking place where? In the granum, where in the thylakoids chlorophyll is there, and in the dark phases or light independent phase is taking place in the stroma. So we will talk about these two phases little later. So this is talking about chlorophyll. Now two things are required: sunlight in the daytime, chlorophyll we discussed just now. Water and minerals are going from the soil to the root hair to the root through diffusion, and from the root hair to the root cortex, and then to the xylem, and xylem is carrying water and minerals to the leaves, to the aerial part of the plant. So water and minerals are also reaching the leaves. Now how CO2 is coming? How CO2 is entering the leaves? So there are small pores on the leaves which are stomata, and the stomata is doing what? It is allowing the CO2 to enter the leaves for the process of photosynthesis. But there is a control which is called the guard cell, the bean-shaped cells which are there at the opening of the stomata. So they are open or closed. The opening and closing is regulated by the guard cells. How? There are two theories that you have to understand and remember. One is the increased potassium ion concentration, and the other is the increased sugar concentration. So increased generation of potassium ions will help in opening the stomatal pore, opening of the guard cells. So the stomata will open. So this increased generation of potassium ions, what will happen? After this increased potassium ion generation, what will happen? The energy released, ATP, in the form of ATP, will pump these potassium ions into the neighboring cells, into all the cells. So target pressure will go on increasing. So this guard cell, in the guard cell also photosynthesis will take place. So this energy will be released. So this energy is pumping potassium concentration to the adjacent cells also. So the target pressure is increasing all the cells, in all the cells of the guard cells, and this will help the guard cell to bulge out, to swell and bulge out, and this bulging will open the stomatal pore. And again, when this concentration of potassium ions will decrease, then shrinking will take place, and the opening will be closed. So when the increased target pressure is there, what is happening? More and more potassium ion concentration is there, is being pumped in the other cells, in the adjoining cells. So the concentration inside is increasing. Inside the cell, guard cells is increasing. So concentration of the solution is increasing. That means the solute, the solid is increasing. The ions, potassium is increasing. So what is happening? From water is entering, because water is from its higher concentration will enter into the lower concentration, where the concentration of the solution is high. So water concentration will be less inside the cell of the guard cell. So from the other cells, from the outside, the water will go and entering. So this guard cell will swell up and will bulge out. So this is because of the increased potassium ion concentration. And the second theory is saying that increased sugar concentration. Because of the photosynthesis, what will be produced? Sugar molecules will be produced. So sugar molecules, if they go on increasing, again in the guard cells also, because photosynthesis will take place in guard cells also. So there the concentration of the sugar molecules will increase. So what will happen again? The concentration of the solution will increase, but the concentration of the water will decrease. So from the outside, the water from higher concentration will enter that particular cell, and this will happen in all the cells of the guard cell. Then what is happening? It is again bulging out, because of the increased concentration of the solution inside the cell of the guard cell. The water from its higher concentration is getting inside the cell, and turgidity is increasing, and the result is the bulging out of the guard cell and the opening of the stomata. And also, when the plant is short of water, the water will be deficient there also in the guard cell. So the reverse will happen, and it will shrink. The bulging will stop and it will start shrinking, and the opening of the stomata will be closed. This is how the opening and closing of stomata is regulated by the guard cells. That is clear, students? Now, some important points also I will mention here. In between, there is too much light also destroys chlorophyll. So there's optimum this thing is of light and heat, everything is required in optimum quantity only. Chlorophyll is highly sensitive to light, so too much light may destroy it. So this you have to remember. It depends how much the plant is exposed to light. Now we have also gone through the stomatal opening and closing, and then how this process of photosynthesis is taking place. So students, you have to remember that it takes place in two phases. One is light phase and another is dark phase. Light phase is also called light dependent phase or Hill's reaction, because Hill was the scientist who worked on this for the first time. So what is happening here? The light is being absorbed by the chlorophyll, which is there in the thylakoids, and it is activated and it breaks the water into hydrogen, oxygen and electrons, which is called the photolysis. So what is happening here? Free molecular oxygen is being released and hydrogen is also separated, which is combining with a reducing agent, that is NADP, which is nicotinamide adenine and dinucleotide phosphate, NADP, and it is becoming NADPH. So these changes are these reactions are taking place in the light dependent phase, because light is a must here. So it is light dependent phase, and it is also known as the which phase? So light dependent phase, and in this phase two things are happening. One is the activation of chlorophyll and another is the spitting of water. So from the spitting of water, what we are getting? Hydrogen, oxygen and electrons, right? So photolysis is a process which occurs in grana of a grana where the piles of thylakoid is there. So the light reaction is actually taking place in the grana, as I said. In the presence of light only it can happen. So what are the things which are happening here? The hydrogen ions, as I said, are combining with NADP and becoming NADPH. What is NADP? That is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, right? So this is happening, free molecular oxygen is released, and then another thing, important thing is happening in light phase, that is ATP. The low energy molecule is converted into the high energy molecule, that is ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is also known as photophosphorylation. So these terms also you have to remember. ATP, what is happening with ATP? One phosphate radical is being added and then it is becoming ATP. So that is adenosine triphosphate. So this also is happening in light phase. And now the other phase is light independent phase. Children, these things that we have got, that are those are obtained from the light reaction, are getting assembled in the light independent phase. That does not mean that it is happening in dark phase. Actually, it is not dependent on light. So that is why it is called light independent phase or Calvin cycle also. The light phase is light dependent phase is also known as Hill's reaction, and this light independent phase is also known as Calvin cycle, because Calvin was the scientist who worked on this and finally found that in photosynthesis what is happening in the light independent phase, all these substances that are obtained from in the light phase are being assembled and are being coordinated and combined to form the glucose, hydrogen, carbon and oxygen. So this is taking place in the so-called dark phase, but actually it should not be called dark phase, it should be called light independent phase. So what is happening here? This carbon dioxide is reduced to form glucose. The NADPH is again broken into hydrogen ion, to free hydrogen ions, and your conversion of starch, glucose into starch is also taking place. So these are all taking place in your dark phase. So this is happening in photosynthesis in the light dependent phase as well as in the light independent phase, right? So the substances, I repeat, were found in light phase are being used and assembled to form the final product, that is the sugar. And this is the final product of the sugar of photosynthesis, right? And the other aspects that you have to study in this is what are the adaptation of leaves to perform photosynthesis. Large surface area is there, leaf arrangement is there, cuticle and upper epidermis are also responsible. Numerous stomata will enhance photosynthesis. The thinness of leaves will reduce the distance between cells, facilitating rapid transport. So leaf will be thin, so rapid transport of these molecules will be there. So this will increase the rate. The chloroplasts are concentrated in the upper layers of the leaf to obtain light energy quickly. So these will enhance photosynthesis. What are the adaptations that leaves are doing for enhancing photosynthesis? Extensive vein system for rapid transport to and from the mesophyll cells. So veins are also sometimes extensive on some leaves. So these are the adaptations for better performance of photosynthesis. End result of photosynthesis, we all know it is glucose, water, oxygen, a translocation of food. Because of photosynthesis only, food is being translocated by phloem. And factors affecting photosynthesis, you have to remember, it is there in this chapter. Your light intensity, carbon dioxide concentration, temperature, water content, these are all factors which can affect photosynthesis. So, the gist is that neither too much nor too low. The optimum quantity of temperature, optimum quantity of moisture, and the CO2 concentration, etc., all are required in optimum quantities, and it varies also from different species of plants. Water content also matters, because if transpiration is more, water will be less. So these all will depend on the habitat of the plant and different other factors. The internal factors can be the chlorophyll, the protoplasm, etc. Chlorophyll means nutritional deficiency of the minerals. Minerals can cause, because minerals only, a lot of minerals are there in the making of chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is made of many minerals. So that is why if the mineral deficiency there will be deficiency of chlorophyll also, that will affect the rate of photosynthesis. Protoplasm, dehydration of protoplasm for some reason reduces the rate of photosynthesis. So these are the factors which affect the rate of photosynthesis. Structure of leaf also. Some desert plants also perform photosynthesis in the night by the separate path that they take. Some desert plants and epiphytes are able to release oxygen even during the night, as they perform photosynthesis using a different pathway called the CAM pathway. Examples of such plants include aloe vera, tulsi, neem, peepal, etc. The CAM means what? CAM means crassulacean acid metabolism. So because of this pathway, metabolism of crassulacean acid, what is happening? Photosynthesis is taking place in desert plants, in night also. So the plants are aloe vera, tulsi, neem, peepal, etc. So these are the very salient features, very important aspects that if you remember, it will help you. There are different experiments here, students, which you have to see and practice and try to answer the questions which are related. Okay. So if other things, little things are left, you please go through your chapters. I think this will help you in your total understanding. So I end this chapter here. Thank you so much. And I am wishing again the very best for your performance in the coming exams and in all the exams in future. So thank you very much. And God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.